it's Plus This, and I'm Eva Tingley.
And I'm Megan Kimberling.
Guys, where's Kathy Deach?
She's in New York.
She's in New York, guys. She is living her life in New York City, guys. She is having a show this week. Her Heart tribute band is having a show.
I want to watch her and hear her so bad.
I was like, Kathy, are you going to do a Facebook Live? And she was like, no. Of course. I was so mad. I was like, Kathy, find somebody to do a Facebook Live. Do a Facebook Live. People in California want to see it.
I know plenty of people in New York that I could get over there.
Please have them do it.
I'll send some messages.
Do it, because she will not do it. And I want to see it. And she was like, oh, well, you should come to New York. I'm like, yes, let me drop $500 to go to New York to watch you sing for, a few hours. I have that kind of money.
No problem.
That's a reality that I could make happen.
No problem at all. Yeah, totally.
But we're sending Kathy so much love. I'm sure she's watching because that's how Kathy is. I don't know.
Kathy.
Maybe she's not. Hi, Kathy. We have a really great show for you guys tonight. We have the most amazing Jordan Daniels, who is a body and fat positive activist, an intersectional storyteller, and occasional model.
Yes, he's fantastic.
You guys are friends.
We are. So I actually have a story.
Oh, tell us the story.
So
tell me the story.
I was shooting a quick little lookbook at Venice Beach, and I saw him and one of his friends walk by, and then I saw him walk by me again. And then I saw them like watching me as I was shooting, and I was like, what are these people up to? And finally he came up to me and he was like, are you a model? And I was like, yes. And then we learned that we were both in Long Beach.
Oh.
And it was just like, oh my gosh. So we became friends.
And you guys became besties.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was
And he was like all shy, like
he was totally. He was like,
well, because you are intimidating to watch. Model.
Well, thank you.
Because you just like do it. Like sometimes Kathy and I will, after the show, like be in there and I'll be like, okay, what would Megan do? And I like do some I do like a weird leg thing, and I'm like, and then Kathy's like, no, that doesn't look good. She's like, you'll see it. That doesn't look good. And then I'll look back at the pictures and be like, yeah, that doesn't look good. I need to do the Megan like practice in the morning model poses in the mirror.
You do.
That's what I need to do.
You just
I just do a booty shake in the mirror.
I mean, that's appropriate.
If you guys did not watch the show where Megan was our guest on the show, she talked about how her morning routine and what she does, and she like poses naked in the mirror.
Yes, every morning.
Which is brilliant.
It's just a thing I do.
I love it. I love that you do that. Okay, let's get into this, because this week, personally for me, was very dull. I felt like there's not much going on. It was pretty crickets. But the plus size community was a pumpin', right?
Yeah. Let's go back to this community word here for a second.
Okay.
I have a lot of feelings about using community to describe the group of the plus size demographic.
Okay. Why?
It's
you don't feel like that we all come together and we're all like loving on each other?
No, not at all.
Oh.
It's super cliquey, and then you have like the industry people versus the non-industry people, and there's not the education that is needed for non-industry people, and then it creates this divide. So when you say
industry, do you mean like people who are in the arts?
People in actors and actresses, models, people who work in the fashion industry, in even retail, or photographers and people that are creating the
content.
Images. Yes, okay. that you see.
Okay, so they're content creators.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a big divide between the people that are creating content and selling you things and people who are just buying them, who are existing as normal fat people in America.
Okay.
And there's just, when it comes to the industry, there's not a community vibe, because everyone's trying to one up everyone else.
Well, because everyone's competing for the same jobs, right?
Which totally. And I think you can compete for the same job and not stab people in the back. Like,
well, and I think that it comes down to knowing that there's enough. Right? Like if it's not this job, it's the next job. And that's hard to do sometimes.
Totally.
Right? So like, but how can we make it more of a community then?
I think we have to take a good look inside of ourselves and
put the man in the mirror
and just realize that, you know, your actions don't only affect you, but they affect everyone around you. And it's you know, it's a ripple effect.
So do you think that means that when, like, for example, when you and I go to an event, that means that we have to like engage people, even though that might be out of our comfort zone? Because I think personally, because I'm an ambivert, so sometimes I'm like super outgoing and sometimes I'm really not. And so when I'm not, people think that I'm intimidating, or they'll be like, you're scary or whatever, and I'm like,
I've actually had people like write to other people I know, like mutual friends, that they met me and that I was a cold-hearted bitch because I didn't like talk to them enough.
Well, you know what? It's interesting because I remember seeing you at an event, at a Plus Plus event, when you had yellow hair, and I was like, she seems like somebody who's like in the know, like she's like somebody, right? And I didn't go talk to you. You didn't come talk to me. So like as people, now that we know each other, obviously, like it's totally different. But like when we don't know other people, how can we like bridge that gap? How can we make it so that it does feel like a community?
First of all, we're grown adults. So using like high school drama tactics is not the way to go. So,
but then that's because we're girls?
No, it's definitely not, because I know just as many backstabbing, conniving males in the industry as I do females. So it's not, you know, don't blame it on.
But I would say that the plus size community that I am referencing is, or the plus size genre grouping, whatever we're going to call it now, is very much a lot of women.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we're going to talk to Jordan about that.
Yes, we are. Very much
so. But it is a lot of women.
Yeah.
So you don't think that has something to do with that? Because women are competitive by nature or catty by nature?
I mean, I think that the reason that we've always been labeled as super competitive and emotional is because we've always been, you know, like a second tier. We've always been clawing our way out and up. And I think that now that we're getting to a point where we don't have to do that as much, we are forgetting that we all have real human relationships that we need to focus on as well.
Right. So then that's what we need to do. So that when we are out, then we have to, I can only speak for myself personally.
Totally.
I should be more engaging with people that I don't know.
I think we all can do a better job of that.
And then that would make other people, that would bring us together closer, do you think?
I mean, that's a hope, right? I guess it's to make it so that there's less.
Because what do you think that there is a wall that goes up with people, right? Like there is a wall that goes up with certain people who have like a notoriety, like or some sort of like Instagram fame or fame in general, right? Like there is a wall of separation.
There is totally. And I think that people that know that they have that wall up, I think they need to be better aware of it and understand that they're no different than everyone else. Like you can have 500,000 followers on Instagram,
right?
But like you still gotta pay your bills, and
and you still, I feel like you still have to be a human being in the world.
I mean,
and you have those followers for a reason. So why not be nice and kind and compassionate towards people?
You got me. I don't know why it's so difficult.
Okay, well, let's just talk about like something that happened with plus fat people in the world. We'll just say that there was a grouping of fat people at an event, and it was the Chromat pool party in Miami, and they created a new swim line that I know you're not a super huge fan of because you're not into Sporty
I'm not.
Spice, but first of all, I love the photos because they're beautiful and
Anastasia Garcia,
they're so
killed
beautiful.
it.
The only one thing that I'm like, what? I'm just like clawing my face out is there's pictures of like all these like beautiful fat girls in the in this new swimwear line, but then there's like pictures of like people eating, but it's never the fat girl who's eating. It's always the thin girl who's eating.
There's the model. She's barely a size 2, and she's like gorging herself on
first
Cheetos.
Of all, she's not. She's just dumped them on her, so they're not actually in her mouth.
This is true.
Which is,
Good
I'm
point.
like, why can't we have a fat girl who's eating? And like just loving it and eating. I mean, I also like the fact that the fat girl is not eating. Because that's not the only thing that we're doing. So it's like, it's like a dichotomy. Because, because I feel like, why can't we see a fat girl eating? But also, why would she? Why? I don't even know why they're eating. I don't even know why it's happening. I'm
not sure either. I think it goes back to their pool rules that they posted.
Oh, the pool rules were amazing. Jarvis, if you can put that up, that would be amazing because they were brilliant.
I think they did a great job of being a brand that is trying to represent body positivity, which in itself is actually very difficult for a brand to do because you're bringing in a political movement into what you're trying to sell.
Right. So right now, if you're watching, the pool rules are up. Megan, I don't know if you can see them right now.
I can.
So can you just say what a couple of them are?
So like
for people who are listening and not watching.
Number 2 is food shaming is not permitted.
Boom.
Let's see. 5, all body hair is appreciated, which is very important.
Yes, because in some of the pictures, there's girls who have like a happy trail, or what is that thing called?
Yeah, from your belly button.
To the hoo-hoo.
Yeah. 8, celebrate cellulite.
I love it.
Number 10, body policing prohibited.
I love it. Oh, wait, there was one that was like food policing also, right? Like you couldn't say anything about.
I think that was
that was
food
2.
shaming. Yeah. No age
I just want to
restriction.
go over it.
It's
don't
really great.
Don't make a comment about what I'm eating.
Respect preferred pronouns.
I love that.
I mean, all of them are fantastic.
It was so
They're
brilliant.
really, really great.
And really, it just comes down to like being compassionate, kind people. Like it's not asking you to do anything out of the ordinary.
No.
It's not asking you to, it's just being like, hey, you're a person, I'm a person, let's respect our own individual choices, let's not judge each other, let's just love on one another, and like let's just have a good time. Brilliant.
Totally.
Those rules should basically be posted everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh my gosh, just amazing. And then Christian Siriano and 11
Honore.
I told Megan that she was going to have to say it because I'm like, I don't speak a French. We need Manon here.
Honore. Yes, we do.
Honore. I don't know how to do it.
I think that was okay, but
I don't know. I don't speak it. But anyway,
luxury.
It is like a true luxury brand. We were looking at this clothes last night, and
we like couldn't stop looking at these clothes.
We were like, it's 11 o'clock at night. Megan, I have to go and stop talking to you about those expensive ass clothes.
I mean, you open up you go to like Shop All, and the first thing there is a $10,000 Zach Posen.
Okay, first of all, it's like a potato sack. It's a potato Zach Posen. Yes, and it's $10,000, and it's just kind of nuts. But they had an event with Christian Siriano, like at the Chateau Marmont, and
it was beautiful.
Just, like all the people were there. I'm just curious, like, how do we get into these events?
What do I have to do?
How many followers do I need to have? No. But anyway, so 11 Honore, their clothes are like really...
They're gorgeous.
They're beautiful.
I mean, silk, linen.
It's like the real high-end fat girl clothing.
Right.
Although, I did notice, and we talked about this last night, that there was like maybe one size for each, and a lot of them were sold out for each size.
Right.
Maybe like one.
Well, I mean, when they only make 1 or 2 pieces in each size, one person buys it, and it's gone.
Right. So it's just kind of so you have like if you like something, you got to spend that $3,000 on it. Can't wait.
Only 3?
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff I liked was 3. Some of it was like $1,800. There was like one thing that I liked that was like $400, but they only had it in size 16. And what I thought was interesting and neat was that each item had its own sizing chart. Like,
yeah,
you had to really look because each one was different.
I think that's really, really smart on their part, because as a consumer, I know that not everything is going to be sized the same. And so when I see a size chart that's just super generic, it's really frustrating because you get it and you're like, this is going to fit, and you put it on and you can't get it on, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that one runs a little small. It's like, well, you could have told me that. You could have
said, like, hey, this runs small. Hey, this is the actual measurement. This is the actual measurement guide that we used when making this pattern.
Right. So I think it's very, very smart on their end, especially when we're talking, $7,000 gowns.
I mean,
it better fit.
Yeah, and they got like some serious cash flow going to support this. Holy cow.
They just got $8 million
on top
of the $3.5 million. So they're working with $11.5 million from venture capitalists, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah. And it's brilliant because it's showing that people are noticing that there's a need and that it's happening. So it's exciting. Even though you and I can't afford it, somebody out there can.
Someone can. Obviously, I mean, they're buying. But yeah, these people, it's the same company that invested in Netflix. Yeah. And it's if they're willing to give up $8 million to fat girl luxury fashion, like, obviously there's something going on. And Siriano has already proved that. We talked about it when I was on here last, that he tripled his income with plus sizes.
And so people just need to get on board.
Yeah.
And they have everything, like from like athletic wear to lingerie to gowns to leisure wear. I mean, they have everything, which is brilliant. Everything. So definitely go check it out. I think it's just 11honoré.com.
Even if you just like drool over them.
Yeah, like just drool. Just like I just like put stuff in my cart and then just like close the window. That's like my favorite, pastime. Okay, you guys, we're going to take a break because we need to bring the most amazing Jordan on. Yes. He's going to come on and we're going to talk about all things Bopo. And we will be right back. Plus this.
You know that 67% of American women are size 14 and above.
You mean they look like this?
Yeah, girl.
So then where are we in television and film?
And where are we in fashion magazines and clothing stores?
Yeah.
So we want to help out entertainment and fashion and media.
Catch the F up.
Topics get hot. We want to hear what y'all have to say.
And they will get hot.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you. It's kind of like a dirty little one. So if you had to do a love scene with somebody else famous, who would it be?
Oscar Isaac.
Love how I asked you that and you had an answer like right away.
We sang, we laughed, we cried.
You got to go back. No, we didn't cry.
We didn't cry.
Everybody should be able to be seen in, I mean, maybe not every single campaign, but let's try to include it in as many campaigns as we can.
Witchy poo, we told you.
We're just putting it in the cauldron for you.
We're going to get those candles. Yeah, people are having sex with us. We need to show that we're like part of this society, and being sexual is part of that.
Absolutely.
So tough titty, you're fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, watch a fat girl love herself.
Applause.
But just us.
Just us
applauding. So good.
Plus this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Plus the Show. I'm going to repeat what I said. He's a body and fat positive activist, intersectional storyteller, and occasional model, Jordan Daniels. Woo!
I'm so excited.
And guys, can you happen to see that he's wearing a beautiful crown?
It's fantastic. I absolutely love it.
I love it. It's so fun.
Claire's ex-CBS collab. AK's at CBS, and I was going to Long Beach Pride with my friends, and I was like, and we're like, we need something that's like Pride worthy. And I was like, this, and I originally was gonna pick out like, it was like a little like it was like a halo, and my friend was like, oh, that's cute. I was like, oh, you take it. And then I was like, this is everything. Yeah. So I snatched that shit for $6, and I was like, yes. Nice. Ever since then, everyone's like, your crown's so cute. I went to San Diego Pride with my niece, and I literally made her go back to my car for the crown. Well, not made her, made us back to my car. Mind you, we were like a mile away. We went back to the crown, and literally the first 5 minutes, your crown's so cute. And I was like,
you're like, see, worth it. Worth the chafing. Worth the chafing.
Girl. Yes. Girl. So much walking.
Right. Yeah, I know. So we have lots of questions for you. I'm going to ask you what, like, I don't know. I know what a body and fat positive activist is, but what is an intersectional storyteller?
So to me, I define it by this idea of, for myself, so I identify as Black, queer, and Jewish.
Okay.
I'm fat. So like that truly intersectional is like how they all come together and how they all intersect. Because we have a habit of leading with one before the other. You know, like there's been a huge like trend of people, you know, putting Black before queer, or putting fat before Black, or fat before queer. And intersection means how they all can sit at the table together. So storyteller, in that sense, just how do I tell all my stories at the same time, on the same table, and I don't have to separate them either.
Oh,
Love it.
That's thank you
it's
for
very
educating
important. My
everybody.
pleasure.
Thank you for educating me, because I was like, what does that even mean?
Okay. Everyone, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that were like, I don't know what that means
They were
either.
like, what does
So-
that mean? Tell me. I'm so glad that you shared that, because
Thank you. Well, and it's just how I define it. In the words of India Arie, don't be offended. This is all my opinion. Ain't nothing I'm saying law. This is a true confession of a life learned lesson I will sit here to share with y'all. So.
Nice.
Thank you. Thanks, India
Thank you.
Arie. Sponsored? No, I'm joking. I wish.
You wish, yeah. yeah.
Hashtag ad. Someday.
Someday, hashtag ad. So you do a lot of body positivity activism, and is that what? So like when you say activism, what does that mean for you? Like, do you feel like because there's not a lot, because we talked about in the first segment about how the body positive or the plus size community group, what are we calling it? Demographic. I'm like, what are we calling it again, Megan? Demographic is the majority is women. So do you feel like you're like you need to be a voice for plus size men, or what are you activating? What are you activisting?
What am I being activisty for?
Yeah.
I don't see it as an obligation to do it for men. I'm doing an obligation for like fat people.
In general.
Yes, exactly. Body positivity is extremely rooted in feminism. So it's extremely started by women in the first place. And I'm like very honored that like I'm able to work in that space. I'm not trying to take it away at all, because women started, and in a lot of cases women like truly need it, because there's been a huge deficit and disparity between like women and how they see themselves, you know. And with men, but for myself, I think I come in doing it for men because the idea of masculinity, you don't talk about these issues at all. You know, you're not allowed to have these feelings. And so I think for myself, it's an obligation for just fat people in general. But I think in terms of like men, I think men have been left out of the conversation, and more so because men don't want to be at the conversation. It's literally not because they don't have a seat; it's because they don't want to take a seat at the table, which is really
At
frustrating.
the size table?
Yeah, I don't believe men have wanted to up until recently.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, again, back to the masculinity. You are taught to not have these feelings about yourself. You're taught to just bury it under the rug, you know, deep inside yourself.
But don't you feel like men are allowed in general to take up more space than women? Like men
for
are
sure.
allowed to like man spread, and like you can't see, but my legs are like wide open underneath here.
I just tightened mine
like,
for the response. It was like,
You're like,
clench.
But men are allowed to take up space, whereas women are meant to be small, or you know.
Well, do you think that has something to do with why they don't want to take a seat at the table? Like, are they because
they kind of
that they're like, well, I don't need that because
Yeah, maybe.
I already I exist.
I mean,
as I am, so you know,
like they don't have to justify it.
right? Is that Is that something that?
I'm trying to think of how men take up space when it comes to like making the rules, right? Women take up space in their emotions, because and I'm saying this not because I feel this way, because this is how I see how I perceive the world around me. And so women take up space in terms of the emotions, because you have the whole like ruled by Venus and all that jazz. And so because of that, the seat that men don't want to take is because they don't like, they're told to not explore their feelings. So it's to them like there isn't a seat at the table anyways, because all men, I mean not all men, but how do I say this?
Hashtag all men.
men just view women as like emotional creatures. We have this thing when women are visual, women can't English. Women are emotional, men are visual, and women act off that and men don't, and so men are just taught to never be emotional. So it's not a matter of having a seat at the table. It's just they, like Meg said, they don't want to because they already have the seats everywhere else. But they're like, why do I want to have a seat at the table to express my feelings? Because that's not manly. That's not cool, bro. To express myself. That's not cool to talk about how I'm afraid of how I look, of how ashamed I am of my body. But in that same vein, we're also told to have a 6-pack abs, to have like giant arms,
Right.
You know, like the gun show, like
Yeah, I mean, even like I was watching something about, I think maybe it was like Clint Eastwood or something, and watching him and he had his shirt off and I was like, he doesn't have a 6-pack. If a guy looked like how he looked now, they would be like, he's not fit enough.
Right. They'd be like, you don't get the part. Like,
Yeah, because he's not fit enough.
Right.
I mean, even Patrick Swayze in Dirty Dancing doesn't have a 6-pack.
No.
And
this is true.
and I feel like for that sense, representation comes in waves. So you think about in terms of like Marilyn Monroe, her body isn't like the body that we see now for all like thin women, right? Like she had everyone says like she had a bit more meat on her. She was like a size, I'm not sure. I mean, still thin, but
I think she was probably really a size 10, but the sizing was different then. So they said she was a size 14, but really probably the sizing was
even
different.
Smaller than that. I think
Yeah.
she was like a 10, 12, and I think now, after like all the size adjustments and
Right.
everything, it's closer to like a 6'8" is what she
Yeah,
was.
which is probably
which was like
makes
her
sense.
hip, not
Right.
necessarily her waist, because her waist was very
tiny, yeah.
So she would be like the bottom end of a traditional like industry plus size model.
Right. But she was not tall either.
No, she was a very petite person.
Right.
But she that was the ideal body at that time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like for men specifically, that the standards have changed. Like there is a demand on men to look a certain way now too.
Yes,
Very much
and so my point within that was like the ideal body at that point back in time with hers was to have like more meat on your bones.
Right.
Now for women, it's to have a 6-pack and to have
Well, and
like,
that's the
giant
thing.
boobs.
Like,
for
and
men,
that's the
same
thing. Like for women, it's always been your body is not good enough. In the 50s, it was you're too skinny, get some meat on your bones. Now it's you're too fat, get thinner. And it's always about our bodies. It's never about anything else. It's always about our looks and it's just frustrating because men, I mean, now men are starting to. I mean, Kathy and I talked about it before about how even like Donald Trump was like concerned about how he was going to look next to Kim Jong-un. Make sure I look thin or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like it does translate to men. I think that men are starting to feel more pressure about their bodies too.
Well, even just like on Instagram, the men that are starting to become more Insta famous and doing these collaborations that are, identify as queer and they're makeup artists and doing all these different things, like you still see them losing weight and actively pursuing these, flat tummy tees that they're never good enough, and they're always saying this is what I was and look at where I am now. Like putting that, the fact that they're transformed themselves on this pedestal, saying like, now that I have money and now that I do this and now that I have a seat at the table, like they're erasing all of this work that everyone's putting in my opinion. And I mean, how do you feel about that with the men that are being seen in the limelight on social media and such, and being queer and saying this is who I am, but still undermining a lot of what body positivity does?
Well, to go back to what Eva was saying real quick, is that, and I think that men, we've always had these struggles in our heads. We're told we're not allowed to express them outside. So like there's always been that struggle of I'm not good enough, but you also cloud it with like fuck it, because like you can't talk about it, no one has to know about it, and I can't let anyone know that I'm not enough because that's like a weakness or something. And then
and it's like whatever. I'm just gonna be like, then you lash out in other ways.
Oh no,
seeps
for sure.
out in all the other
for sure.
ways. Just,
for sure.
Yeah.
Like and again, like what I'm saying, I'm not saying this is how I feel. I'm saying this is like how I perceive the world around me. And it's incredibly frustrating. And to your point, Meg, about being queer, I think
I love that you're calling her Meg.
A lot of people call me
Megan.
Meg.
I mean,
Meg.
It's totally cool.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
sorry. Do-
It's just
I always
not
just
Maggie.
I always
and
just
I'm
go
cool.
by whatever somebody says their name is to me.
Oh, yeah.
So then when I hear somebody call them something else, I'm always like, oh,
Oh yeah, no, Meg is perfectly acceptable.
okay,
Yeah.
Meg.
Meg,
like
Megan,
like
it's
Kathy
fine.
is okay with Kath, but not Kat.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Meg is cool. Maggie is not.
Okay,
So
okay.
even
just
Megs.
Megs. I
Yeah.
like Megs. Okay,
Yeah, that's cool.
sorry to interrupt.
Maggie
I was just
sounds weird.
noticing how
Yeah,
cute.
No Maggie.
Not here for Maggie.
Not Maggie.
it sounds so much like Maggie. I'm like,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Not here for it.
Okay, so going back to you saying that you're like, back on track. I'm here. Megan was sure we're getting back on track. You were talking about the answering Meg's question. Answer Meg's question.
I'm like, my mind's a million places now. I'm like, what was I saying? Oh, to being queer. I personally have not seen a lot of queer fat people like being on that trend. But I think more so because I'm choosing now. I'm about to swallow this mic in a second. I'm choosing. I'm choosing to not follow and engage with them. So you may be probably seen them, but I'm not seeing them because I frankly I don't want to see them. I mean, I've seen that before with women. I've seen that before with straight men. I think it's frustrating because I feel like things like the flat tummy teas are marketed especially towards women. And I haven't really seen men do it, but it's really interesting because it's like women are told that there's like a different way to lose weight than men are, which is like really weird. And but the woman's way definitely involves chemicals and suppressants. The men's way is just like, just go to the gym more. Like, just go to the gym more and have more protein,
Just
bro.
work out harder.
Yes, have more protein, bro.
Just like, protein bar it.
Protein shake. Call it a
Women
day.
are like
pre-workout?
women have to get like colonics and like all the things. They have to do. They have to
Spend
do
all day
all
on
the
the
things.
toilet.
They get Botox. They have to do all of the things. So one of our fans is asking, "Hey Jordan, who do you look up to, past and present, to gain the confidence that you have now?"
Oh my gosh.
The pressure's on. We can come back to it. We can come back to
I
it.
can answer it now.
Okay.
Myself.
Boom!
No, I'm
Just
totally
kidding.
kidding. No, I mean, truly, like, I definitely look up to Megan because I think what she does.
Megs.
Megs. I think like what she does. I think, and like in the way where she's at with how she perceives her body and how she models her body is definitely beyond where I am. You know, like she does nude art, and I think that's like freaking beautiful and like so radical and just so like rebelistic. If that's the word I'm making the word now, rebelistic. Like it's not like F you to
it's
society.
rebelistic and revolutionary.
Yeah, really is. So I just see Megan. I love. I'm gonna screw up his name. Arcadio De Valle. His Instagram. 80 Del Valle, I believe, on Instagram. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna feel so bad if I butcher it because I love him so much. But I'm not sure if he identifies as fat or just plus size, so I'm just saying plus size. But he also has but his big thing is that he has a really large chest, and he puts that out. On his photos, and it's so amazing. He's getting a lot of hot buzz. I'm so happy and proud for him because he definitely deserves it.
We're gonna talk about him. We're gonna talk about him in the third segment. Oh,
yes.
I've started following him a few thousand followers ago.
Here, Jarvis. Here's his thing.
And yeah, he is bringing a lot of things to the table that have been missing.
He is. We're gonna talk about it in the third
yeah.
segment because he is pretty really making some changes in the plus size community. But I want to ask you, because this is a question that I ask pretty much every single guest. Do you identify as fat?
I do identify as fat. Thank you.
I
know who he is. I say his name. It was like,
Jarvis just passed the phone back to. We're just passing pictures around. We're passing notes. We're passing notes. You guys can't see.
We
were talking about if you identify as fat.
Yes, I do identify as fat. It took me a long time to get that point.
To use that word.
And I do credit like Megan with that. I credit Tess Holiday for that. To just say like I'm fat, and that's because I've gone through this whole struggle in life saying like I'm just big boned, or I'm thick, and like. And also, if we have time to talk later the word thick, I love to just talk about that later.
Yeah, do it.
As well. Same. I just wrote a whole article about that. Oh, Lord Jesus. Anyways. But yeah, so.
But why? Okay, wait. Can we just talk about that real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
Why do you hate it? Both of you.
Do you want to go?
Sure.
Go, Megs?
Sure.
Yeah,
so
Megs.
I hate the word thick because it, to me, is a label that men have put on acceptably fat women. And I feel like they use it as a term of objectification.
Like sexual objectification?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, they want a thick woman, but they don't want a fat woman, which to me just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're fat, you're thick. If you're thick, you're fat. Like, it's one and the same to me.
But I don't necessarily agree with that, because like my sister is like she's not thin, but she's not fat. She's just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I would say that she's thick because she's not like a thin stick thin girl, but she's like muscular. Like, if I really worked out, I'd probably have the same body as her.
You'd be thick
But
as well.
like, because she really likes to work out. But she's like thicker.
But
Like,
I
she's
feel
not
like-
fat.
I feel like 10 years ago we weren't using thick as an identifier. We were using athletic. Like, why?
No, I don't think so. I think that because 10 years ago, well, 10 years ago I was still fat, but before that, when I was like in my my late teens, like in high school, guys used to be like, "Oh, you're thick," but you know what I noticed? Like, it was a lot of black guys who used that term. It's not. I love how Jarvis is like,
yeah.
Like, it's not. Do you think that that's a cultural thing?
Well, so if I may, so thick itself was originally created for black women. It was created for black women of like,
There we go.
Again, like Meg said, I'm going to say Meg's a lot.
Megs.
Like Meg said, like of acceptable fat. My issue isn't with the word thick. Like, I love the word thick. I do. I used to use it. I used to relish in it. I think thick is fine. My issue is how people use it now, because like Meg said, it is like dismantling the work that like fat people have done to be acceptable. And it's sad that we have to fight to be acceptable, as with every like marginalized community in this country, to fight to be acceptable. But like, thick is dismantling all that work that we're doing. I think thick is fine, but it's a problem as well, because now like thin people are trying to be thick, so they're trying to add fat to their bodies without being fat. Like,
So
and
like,
that's the problem to
like
me.
Kim Kardashian would be
Kardashians?
considered thick
Sure.
because she
Surgically enhanced is what I like to
right.
call
Yes,
her,
for sure.
Tea's hot in this bitch.
completely surgically enhanced, right? Because like,
But yeah.
no matter how
She's
many
all
squats you
plastic.
do, you don't get a booty like that.
No, you can't.
Yeah. But that's what they're talking about. Like, when they're saying like, I want a thick body like that with a flat stomach.
You want big boobs, fat ass, thick thighs, and
Slim
flat
thick,
stomach.
which is another, like, I
Yeah.
also hate that as well.
Wait, say that again.
Slim thick.
Oh, slim thick. I've never heard that.
Oh, yeah. It's like Kim K. Like,
Okay.
She's slim thick because she's tiny, but her ass is like a world.
Right, yeah. It, like, enters the room, leaves the room
Like, it has its
way
own gravity,
after her.
I think.
Yeah.
But
Gravitational
This
pull.
is like the world.
I was gonna be like really crude and be
Just
like,
knock the fuck
I'm
out
not gonna
Pluto.
say it. I'm not gonna say it. Okay, but I wanted to go just touch back on why you are an occasional model and not just like a model. Just like taking up the space of being a
if
model.
someone wants to sign a bitch, then no, I'm totally kidding. I say occasional because. Well, one, because, okay, so I was listening to a podcast, it's actually Zach Miko's podcast, and he had Marcy Cruz on there, and she was talking about this.
I love Marcy Cruz.
I love Marcy
Yeah,
Cruz,
Marcy.
too.
Hey.
I actually love
Hey, Marcy Cruz.
I messaged her afterwards, like, you're so amazing. And so, in that podcast, she was saying, like, like, some people aren't, like truly, like, some people aren't meant for some things, for sure. And I believe that, I think everyone has their calling in life. And I think we have control of that to an extent, and most of that is, like, up to the universe. Again, all my opinion, nothing I'm saying, blah, 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 blah.
Right, you said the India Arie Club.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm gonna say I don't feel like model is my calling. I mean, I think I can like set a face and maybe turn a look or two. But like, I just like.
also, sorry, side note, if you need to see Jordan in heels.
Oh,
by the way.
Did we see you
I
in
don't
heels?
know
Is
if
it on
there's
your
any
Instagram?
photographic
I should have
evidence.
sent that picture because there's a picture that I posted before, and that I think that was featured either in Plus Model or Ravishly. One of those two. It could have been both. I'm not sure.
It's fantastic. You
but
need to find it.
You
It's
need
definitely-
to find
it's
it,
on my
people.
Instagram
Google it.
somewhere.
Works some heels.
Thank
let me
you.
tell
Well, so
I love
I've
it.
done drag a few times for
Okay.
sure too. So, and so yeah, so I say occasional model because and if I'm being quite honest, I'm like really afraid. I'm really afraid of success sometimes,
Oh.
and what that looks like.
This just got
We're
real.
gonna start
Damn.
coaching you now.
I'm
We're gonna start coaching you.
Like I'm really afraid of like leaving people behind and being left behind, and like I see that a lot, and so I'm just afraid of like what success looks like, and so but I think with modeling, I just don't foresee myself doing it. I've always wanted to be when I was younger, I want to be an actor. So like I did like child modeling. I'll use the term like air quotes child modeling, child acting, and so I have always felt drawn to like the entertainment industry, but I've never been like I want to be a model. That said, though, like there's some days where I'm just like I want to like live my best life and just walk on a runway, call that a good damn day. So I see occasional model now.
So anyone who's looking for a wonderful queer fat black man, like
and it can
There
work
he
some
is.
safe
There he
bitch
is.
pumps, bitch. I'll be here for that shit. I can do that tongue pop. I wish I could. It's like,
Oh my gosh!
might get
On that note, we have to take a little baby.
Every-
Oh,
you
we
got
got
it.
it! We got it! Look at this!
Yes.
Inhale.
Yes.
Work,
Ow.
bitch.
Thank you. Thank you. And but
Jarvis is on top of it. Okay, we have to take a little break, a little baby break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk to Jordan about hot topics. Woo! Not hot
how you
topic.
doing? Oh, it's
Plus this.
Promotional consideration brought to you by Melissa Massey. Custom clothing isn't exclusively for the rich and famous. Melissa Massey is custom-made clothing for everyday wear. A unique combination of custom tailoring and deluxe fabrics that is well made and fit for every size and frame. Made in LA, sold in LA, and online at melissamassey.com. It's not the natural beauty products in your life, but the life in your natural beauty products. Linda Kammen's Aromatherapy Salon, lindakamens.com, for happier, healthier living. Promotional consideration provided by Scrubs Body, a woman-owned business with scrubs so natural they're good for your public parts and your private parts. Scrubsbody.com.
Plus this.
Did you guys miss Kathy? Because that was her voice. Plus this.
I did. I missed her.
I miss Kathy too. I mean, I really like having you here, but
Thank you.
I do miss Kathy Deitch's crazy antics. she did call us the greenest.
She's the greenest.
We're the greenest,
I'm
guys.
more blue, but you know it's
Maybe her screen's off. Her screen's off.
Maybe that's it. Too much yellow. Kathy.
Yeah.
Too much yellow.
the shade of it all.
You're gonna change the filter on your camera, Kathy. But let's talk about what we're wearing because somebody was pointing out how cute we look, and so you talk about what we're
Can you
wearing.
see? Can you
Yes, love your
Lonjas.
lonjas.
I'm not Hispanic, so if
I
I
can't
totally
speak
murdered
Spanish.
that, I'm
Latino.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't speak Spanish either. Love your lonjas, which means what?
Your love handles. Love your love handles and
Love
your curves
little
and you're like,
yeah.
boop, boop.
And guys, I don't know if you guys can. Oh, you guys probably can't see, but I have a little fat mermaid on me.
Yeah,
on my
look
boobies.
at that little brown fat mermaid, and she's fantastic. Look at her. I do love her a lot.
We're gonna post it on Instagram. Don't worry.
yeah,
I'm
we
gonna,
got
send
these-
all the pictures to Kathy to post.
Pristine Boutique is
Sorry, Kathy.
rebranding to Love Your Lonjas, and she is amazing, and she's in LA, and she's actually doing an event right now.
I know, and she
so-
was so great to give us these shirts to wear.
I linked up with her a couple years back, I think, and she's just been a super supporter of mine for that long, and super, super sweet, and I'm excited to see her grow and
Yeah.
flourish. And
So what is her website? Is it Love Your Lonjas?
yeah, loveyourlonjas.bigcartel.com right now.
Okay.
So-
So go check it out because you can get
Yeah.
these. You can get these cute shirts
And
there.
this is mine's actually a crop top.
It is.
And
It's so
yeah,
cute.
it's adorable, and she has like dad hats and
yeah, she has all kinds of different things. Go
She's doing it.
Support her.
Meg, you gonna find me outside when we get out this. I'm gonna get that shirt. from
She's
you.
gonna.
Wash,
He's gonna
girl.
rip the shirt off of you.
Wash, girl.
Good thing you brought other clothes.
I'm about to take those long hats. No, I'm totally kidding. This is so bad. I'm like threatening a woman on air.
Okay, so this week was let us know that there was only one plus size model in Men's Fashion Week.
Yeah, in London, one plus size model for Men's Fashion Week in London, and like Like, really, guys?
But why? Like, it's like the women's side is starting to get really much more inclusive-ish.
It is.
It's really starting to. Why is the men not on board with that?
It's even more frustrating because you have bridge models in London, you have milk management, you have these agencies that have, you know, the Brawn plus model men's division now, and it's like they're right there, right? Just hire them, just
right?
Put clothes on them and have them walk down your runway. Like, I don't understand how difficult this is. Just do it.
I know, but they're just not. But I'm wondering, and that probably goes back to like this: the standard for men is also getting much more rigid.
It is, because at the same time, you know, the Brawn agency or section sector.
I feel like when you say brawn, it's like like the brawny man.
That's all I think of.
Like that's all I think about is like the big like lumberjack brawny guy.
I mean, Zach Miko could be the brawny guy.
He totally could. He totally could.
But like you know, these parts of the agencies are coming up within the last couple of years. But before that, the last 10 to 15 years, all of these agencies were instituting fitness sectors into their agencies,
right?
And it's that definitely came before the brawn and plus size fad in men's modeling. So you definitely had that big push within the last decade for these fitness models, and a lot of.
I'm sorry, what is the difference between a fitness model and a model? Like, isn't that the same thing?
No, a standard high fashion model for menswear is actually fairly slender, and so these fitness models, they're the guys that are on.
Oh, they're like the ones that have like the abs. They're like okay. Those are the guys that I probably don't ever want to hang out with because they're probably just real bitchy. Like they're just hungry as fuck.
I actually did social media for a fitness model in LA back in the day, a few years, and he was like the hardest working person I've ever met in my life.
But was he hungry?
All the time. Because
I feel like people who are hungry are real crabby.
So, quick story. He was like strict diet regimen right before this show, this LA Fashion Week show, and we went. Me and his manager and him went back to his place after the show, and he ate.
Did you now, Megs? Did you now, Megs?
Thank you.
Oh. I thought it was
gorgeous, though.
I thought it was going to be like way more fun than that.
No,
you're like, his manager went back to his place.
She made him like healthy, like fish and steamed vegetables, and he ordered 2 pizzas and ate like everything that night. And I was just like, how do you consume that much? And he's like, well, I haven't eaten in 4 days. I'm like, well,
yeah. So you're like ravenous.
Wow.
Yeah.
No wonder you're a jerk. I just feel like people who don't eat, they're just like really cranky. Like they just are, and then he eats, and then
yeah, and hot Cheetos on pizza, and I was like, if that's your thing, like you do you, bro.
No,
super nice, amazing man.
No, I'm sure. I love
family.
it.
May I speak real quick back?
No, we're just gonna have a secret conversation. We're having a conversation over here. Nope, you're done. Just kidding.
Let us see this crown come off real quick.
He's like,
let me wrap my weave up real quick.
I don't got a wig, but it's
right now. For a second, I saw my soul jump out. Like,
he was like, what?
I was like,
he like thought I was all real
Eva,
serious.
I see how it is.
He was like, oh, whose show is it?
No, but I was just gonna say, just to the topic you're speaking of earlier about why not have representation. It makes me think a lot about like this new issue with Scarlett Johansson. Like that girl is playing a trans person in a film, and like it's really like
of course trans person, mind you.
Wait, she's supposed to be playing a fat person?
She was supposed to be playing was it Rub and Tug is the film. She was supposed to be playing a fat trans man. Wow. Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be playing a fat trans man. Like there's so much wrong with that.
Like a trans from man to woman or woman to man?
Woman to man. So trans identifies as male.
Okay.
Who was fat. We're talking like fat, not just like, oh, I'm chubby, like a fat man.
Okay.
And she was supposed to play him. And there was this huge backlash, and she finally dropped out.
Oh, did she? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, rumor is that she actually owns the rights to the
story,
the script. So she if she doesn't do it, it probably won't ever get made, which is unfortunate because it would be an incredible film for fat people, for trans people.
I mean,
for
that
all
I
sorts
feel
of
like is a
things.
very touchy subject, because I feel like that then goes into, well, I can't play a nurse because I'm not really a nurse, or I can't play this character because I've never really experienced that.
Well,
I mean, and it's touchy because I have deaf parents, and when it comes to like playing a deaf character, it's a really touchy subject. Like, should it go to a deaf person, or can it be a hearing person? And I just feel like as an actor, like that is like your job as an actor, is to like go outside of who you are and play somebody else. So I like personally like feel like that's such a conflict, because as an actor, that's your job, is to do that.
And as someone who's acted before, I definitely see what you're saying, and I agree with you to an extent. But I also feel like at the same time, like there's just a certain amount of like when you're crossing the line of someone's like living identity, and also identity that they literally like can die for. I mean,
Right.
truly, like trans people die every day for living the truth. And I
Right.
think like to an extent, it's like to say that you can play that part, to me, is kind of offensive, because like you will not live that experience. And I think, and I guess an actor, the whole point is that you become somebody else. But I feel like you can't become that, especially when there are working trans actors out there.
Right. So then,
Totally.
do you feel then the same thing? Then a trans woman shouldn't play a woman,
if they are male or female, if they're
right? Should they only be able to play trans characters, or they should be able to play?
well, so if they're a male or female trans, so they're a woman who's trans, that they totally can play a woman, because I think, but to that extent, like that's who they are, like that's their identity at the end of the day. Like they were a man and they are a woman, so yeah, like I totally think they can, for sure. I mean, I
just think that it's a touchy subject when it comes to
yeah.
art
I
and craft.
It definitely
I
is,
definitely
for
think
sure,
it's
yeah.
a touchy subject. I think one of where I am coming from it, in my personal opinions, is that I think that there are so many talented trans actors and actresses and fat actors and actresses that could have been asked to play that part, and they weren't, and that's the problem. And but
I also think that if Scarlett
history,
Johansson bought it and was like, I want to make this, I want to tell this story,
she can do that with hiring fat or trans actors.
but I
if
mean,
you
I
have
don't
the-
know. I feel like if you have, go ahead.
like if you have the rights to it, I get that. But at the end of the day, like, girl, your bag is already full. Your bag is full.
Well,
She don't need to get a new bag, as in like money. She'll need to get new money. She's stacked. At least from my perspective, she's stacked. She doesn't need the access for it. People need the access for this visibility. Trans people need the access for this visibility. I think as like a storyteller, you have an obligation to send that elevator back down to people who deserve it.
Totally. But
Yeah.
then that goes to going, okay, so then there's actors who will gain weight for a role. Are they, is that the same thing?
I mean, why don't you just hire fat actors? Like, I think that Hollywood needs to do a better job, period,
For sure.
about hiring minorities and
Sure.
and marginalized people.
Yes.
And if you're going to say, okay, you need to gain 80 pounds for this role, I think Hollywood needs to be like, wait, why don't we just find a fat person to play this part? Like,
No, I mean, I look, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No,
I
I agree.
really like 100% agree. I'm just not going to be like, I feel like it's a boring show if we're all agreeing on the same thing.
No,
So
I
I'm
feel-
just like
Also,
playing a little bit of devil's
I
advocate.
sidetracked
'cause,
the hell
like,
out of us. I'm sorry. I was like my original point was just literally just the idea of like representation, and like to me it reminds me of that issue. But I'm like, I sidetracked the fuck out.
Yeah,
of
we
it.
really
I'm
like went
so sorry. I was
totally like
oh my God,
off
we've been to
topic,
big
off
ass
topic.
issue. It's like, oh no, let me
It's
stop.
okay. It's okay. Okay, so let's just quickly talk about this. The plus size male models recreate the Calvin Klein ad.
Yeah.
It's called hashtag big. I can't even talk. Hashtag we are big and tall. Period. Project.
yes. And it actually came out like a couple months ago, but it's starting
It's starting to get traction.
right, and which is fantastic. And 80. Is it 80 or Addy? Addy?
I think it's
So sorry, we're butchering your name.
I think it's Arcadio is his actual name. I think. So I just say ADY sometimes because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna be.
Okay.
Addy
Well,
or
he's
80.
fantastic, and
Yes.
he's involved in this project, and the blogger, his last name's Graham. I don't know his first name. He was the one
it's
that
Daniel.
that is it. What is it?
I believe it's Daniel.
I think that's right.
I believe it's Daniel. I'm a mess.
He saw the Calvin Klein ad that it was inspired by like the Kardashians Calvin Klein ad, and he was like, there's a men's version, right? Of all these the men in the Calvin Klein ad, and he was like, well, let's do it with fat guys, and they did, and
I love it. It looks so great. It looks so great of these guys all like lined up. Oh, that's 80. Oh wait, we're not watching. Sorry. You guys can't see it yet. He hasn't shown you guys yet.
Well, now you guys
can see. Now you guys can see.
He's literally like one of my inspirations.
If you're not watching and you're listening to this podcast, you probably should go and watch it.
Yeah, it's a lot of visuals.
But anyway, so what he said was what I like. What he said. He said like the rest of the industry calling for representation across size, gender, ethnicity, ability, age. Graham is hopeful that visibility for plus size male models will improve, and that he and his friends have contributed to breaking down barriers with their latest images. We'll see ads everywhere, and it won't any longer be taboo to see a full figure. Eventually, we'll drop the plus and simply be models, which I know that I
have lots of feelings about drop the plus.
We can't talk about. We don't have time for lots of feelings, but give us the concise feeling.
I think it's bull because plus is what pays people. Like plus size signs your checks. So until the clothing industry changes and the way that fat people are marginalized, you just need to suck it up and be okay with plus size.
Right, because like I feel like, do you feel like it's not right to categorize, or it is?
I am a firm advocate for labels, actually. Okay. I think labels are very important to people who want to use labels. I think labels can be very freeing and very important to our identities. Like, reclaiming fat. That's my label, one of my labels. That's one of my identifiers. And I think labels can be very important to people. And I personally know a lot of fat women that being able to find things that are labeled plus size is very important to them because they need to know that they can find their clothes and that they have representation.
Right. Like I hate when I go to a website and it's like I can't go straight to the plus.
Oh, it's so annoying.
I'm like, ugh.
Right.
Like, how am I supposed to like find what I'm gonna wear? I'm gonna like go through everything. Like, come on, like that's just annoying.
Yeah, I think labels goes into this conversation of equality and equity to me, because if you take out the labels of plus and have them all together, then it's like, oh, it's the equal playing field, but it's not, because the thin straight size people will still get all the access, all the notoriety for it. Like they'll be seen more, they'll be more visible. But I think it's equitable to have the plus size because it's giving us visibility as well. I'm not sure if everyone's seen like the equality versus equity like little cartoon you have. Yeah. I mean, like, that's exactly what it reminds me of. I think labels are a way of having more equity because you want to be visible, want to be seen. If we a
lot of people think of equity and they think of like the money that you get from your house, but I'm like, no,
not exactly.
No, we're talking about
this different kind of equity.
Yes, you have to
see.
If
you have some of that, pass that my way.
Yeah.
Please.
You guys, it's already the end of our show. Can we please? I know it went by so fast. Can you tell us like briefly where people can find you and how they can follow you and what you're up to next?
I can. My Instagram is Joho Daniels. That's Joho Daniels, Daniels. I just spelled it for you so you can't get it wrong. My Twitter is Jordan H Daniels, JORDNHDANIELS. I want to be more professional, but I might change to Joho again because everyone knows me as Joho. My website is www.jordandaniels.com. I am plugging myself up in here. I am doing great.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
up to next. I'm really just trying to do more shoots, trying to write more. I identify as a writer at heart, storyteller, as you heard, Intersectional Storyteller. So I really want to get my stories out there. Publications. You'll see me out here either living my best life with coffee shops. I love craft coffee, eating ice cream, or just like twerking my ass out sometimes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we'll tell people to keep watching you on Instagram. You guys, next week we have Laura Luna coming on. Kathy's going to be back. It's going to be a really great show, and you guys, please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next week on Plus
Yay.
This.
Can I say thank you for having me so much?
We love you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yes, of course. Thank you.